Hello, hello. Welcome to this my video series about Oldhammer and reviewing its various miniatures, which I just so happen to have bought a bunch of this year, and I've also gotten like a lot of gifts. So I should have a pretty big backlog, like probably for at least 100 episodes. Depends on how I define my episode topics. So, for example, this week we will go over the classic 1994 Mordian Iron Guard Squad. So, yeah, let's begin. Right beforehand, I would like to apologize for any background noise. But I need to have my fan on because otherwise I'm melting here. I already have to keep the window shut, and my room is tiny and it's getting hot in here, and basically I would be technically made out of resin, so I will melt if I don't have something cool in me. Anyways, where should we start? I would say start with the most interesting feature about the squad, which I'll put on screen now. And it's something that you still have in the current Neophyte Root Brothers squad, but no longer in the guard squads, because back then a bunch of the sets came with 2 men carrying a heavy weapon. Also they had some special sculpts, so you can see here the firing commander and spotter, I think, and the loader with the big energy cell, and it's basically just a heavy lance cannon. The sculpt is actually just pretty normal, like it's nothing special, nothing unique to the Mordian Iron Guard. So all in all, it's just a nice feature, so you didn't have to buy the heavy weapon teams separately every time you want to play them, because I mean you still now to this day can attach a heavy weapons team to a squad. So it's pretty nice that they basically came with them back in the day. And yeah, so that would be about it for the heavy weapons team. It's a basically nice sculpt. It's the basic cannon, of course, so you have that for every squad, although it should be noted that the different regiments came with different weapon teams in the standard infantry squad box. So as far as I'm aware, the Mordians come with lascan, as you can see. The Catechans had a rocket launcher, if I'm not mistaken, and I think the Valhallans had it's called the big autocannon. Or no, they didn't have the autocannon. They had the mortar, like the big mortar. So sorry if I pronounced that wrong. And then, so I mean it's metal, obviously. So of course there is no options for what heavy weapons you have, but they basically gave you the standard grenade launcher. But of course, as in fashion of the Oldhammer, you basically could buy every sort of heavy weapon separately, which, in my opinion, is something they should really bring back. Like also the whole fact that you can that you can buy separate characters. That you can buy multiple character sculpts. So, for example, the old 5th edition Chaos had like 3 different sculpts of sorcerers or chaos lords, or you had 2 different tech marines, 2 different tech priests, engineers, like the whole thing. I kind of wanted to have a comeback, but yeah, basically you get a simple grenade launcher. You can see it's a little bit longer. Obviously it's a different sculpt, but it also just really is quite long. Has quite a long barrel. Looks a bit more like a like these big like barrel machine guns you have in the Second World War. Well, probably most of you know them from Fallout 4. Super mutants tend to use them. And then let's move on to the standard rank and file trooper. So he is one of my favorite sculpts. It was like just the standard marching one. I kind of wish we had like more variants of those. I mean, there are two like marching forward. No, three marching forward. So let me just get them. This one is my favorite. Then you have this sculpt. Is a bit more. Well, he holds it up more, his rifle more, but also rather well the basic marching would probably fit perfectly next to one another. Yeah, definitely. So, just the whole. I just like this marching aspect. Especially ever since I saw that big Warhammer World diorama, where they basically had like a whole regiment of tanks and soldiers marching down. It was just amazing. I'm pretty sure you've seen it in White Wolf like 3 years ago or so. Yeah, something like that. And the last one, marching? I'm not sure if I call it marching. Pardon me. I think more he is supposed to be charging. Well, it kind of looks like he's running, holding up his last rifle to stab you with the bayonet. I think it's like one of the weakest sculpts in this set, mainly because of this really thick bayonet. But also like I don't know, the pose is just kind of would have been cooler if you had him also like just normally marching, like holding his the stock of his rifle down there. Something they did for the Praetorian Kit Bash on the Warhammer TV channel. Next to one that I find rather striking, it's classically aiming down the rifle, although given that it's a one-piece sculpt, the dude is actually looking down his rifle. So you can see here, the scope, I'd say is this, which confused me since I never thought it is a scope. I thought it was more like a metal piece to, I don't know, hold some cables, but apparently it's a scope. Well, according to this guy at least. So that's fun. And the last two were a bit more casual, I'd say, are the guys sort of marching up, holding up their guns. Pretty standard. Pretty standard guys in my opinion. And from the front, where you probably see them, they just look nice. It's pretty good. And lastly, the best piece of every of the squad boxes, getting a sergeant. I must say that one is quite the piece. I mean, nicely decorated fatigues. Yeah, fatigues is the word. Also a nice big hat. A pretty cool design of a chainsword. I think that was the old standard. And my favorite, this rather big auto pistol actually. Yeah, you're right. You hear me right. It's not a last pistol, it's actually an auto pistol that he's carrying. At least it looks like that to me with the ingrains of the barrel and this little piece. It looks pretty much like the Chaos Cultist autogun. I will probably put a picture of the one I'm thinking of right now on screen in editing. And here you have it. That is the 1994 Mordian Iron Guard squad. But one thing I would like to add to this is that the sculpts of this squad aren't actually only in here, but you could also find them in the Praetorian Guard, because they basically wore all the same fatigues except for a different hat, which is pretty funny that they basically used the same sculpt. But then again, it should be remembered, Praetorians were, I think, a more limited run. I could be wrong. I'm not the total expert. I will probably have to read it up again. But as far as I'm aware, they weren't as common as the Mordians. I think they actually like were phased out around 3rd edition. Well, probably like okay. To be fair, most of the old regiments were phased out back then, but I mean I think they were the first to go. Anyways, it's just a fun fact in my opinion that they released the sculpts. I can also give you another example of that. Let me just find the sculpt. Yeah, it's that one. So you can see it a bit more clearly here. Basically just a completely different head, but the rest is basically the same, which is fun. And yeah, that is all the points of this set. In my opinion, it's a great set. Basically, all of the Imperial Guard sets back then were pretty good. I cannot comment on how good it is rule-wise, like were the grenade launchers or the auto pistols the best weapons or las cannons. But I'd say it's a nice starter. Well, not starter, but basically it's a nice reinforcement. Of course, I think there were also box sets where you only got like 10 of the standard guys, like the standard sculpts, because at least of the stormtroopers I have some. I will probably put them on in the next episode or something. But yeah, nice set. Lovely Oldhammer. I just gotta say, I think the Mordians have like the most Oldhammer feeling. But yeah, I think I should probably like give this formula like a rating on 3 categories. So like Oldhammerness. I know it's totally a subjective measuring. So in Oldhammerness, I'd say they get a 9 out of 10. They're not the perfect ones. Perfect is gonna be hard. So perfect would be like probably something like the old Nagash sculpt, basically just because it's so ridiculous. But yeah, so Oldhammerness, 9 out of 10. Sculpt variety, I would say we get a good 7, 8 out of 10. I mean, as far as I'm aware, you only have like different sculpts for, of course, heavy weapons guys now, and commissar and sergeants and lieutenants, and I think also for some heavy weapon guys. But yeah, the basic squad doesn't have any other sculpts, so this is all you get. I mean, I got 2 more Mordians, but yeah, they're basically the same you have seen before. So yeah, they get a set 7 to 8, probably 7. And on the 3rd point, I would say quality. Yeah, quality. Let's give it quality. Yeah, basically, I mean, Oldhammer always had this. It's a bit of a debate taking quality against nostalgia, and in my opinion, they would probably get something around a 6 to 7. You know, they are okay. They just do fit in with the older style of miniature making, so you have a bit bigger, bigger hands and bigger heads. But then, for example, you have stuff like that, which just no, just no. And yeah, I think the weapons especially suffer a little bit in quality. Maybe not, but and I need to apologize because my phone, which I'm currently using to film this with, kind of just decided to die. I have no idea why. It just sort of did. So yeah, that was the first episode of my Oldhammer Reviews. Sorry for the moving camera, it's a bit out of place right now. Yeah, that's the first episode. I've never really done like a proper YouTube video before, so I guess if you liked it, let me know. And maybe let me know what you would like to see for the next episode. Just keep in mind, I'm not gonna buy anything for the series for now, because I have more than enough myself to review already. Which means I will just be going for what I have, which also appears in the comments. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Maybe someone got nostalgic because they had that when they were little, or when they're not so little, but younger. Yeah. And I hope you have a nice time hobbying. Bye.